Hey Saber fans, this is Gray Paladin, and I'm going to review the new Saberforge Fallen Order Eco Saber. I believe this is Gen 5, but correct me if I'm wrong. So I purchased this saber for $129, a very nice budget price, and this is available with a Proffie neopixel core, but I went with just the standard Eco electronics. All the electronics are provided by LGT, which means that you can swap out the cores with any of the LGT 1-inch diameter core system, as long as you have the correct switch and recharge port hole alignment. So with the saber, it's going to come with a user guide. You can use the website that's provided, or you can scan the QR code and it'll give you all the instructions on how to use the saber. It also comes with a USB charging cable, and this is plugged into the recharge port. You get a adapter or a wall charger that you plug the USB into. And then you also get this magnetic bag here with an Allen wrench. It's you don't get any additional screws like you would with Crimson Dawn or something like that, but you do get the Allen wrench. And then along with that, you get the V4 Infinity Blade. And I notice now that the Infinity Blades are coming with a rounded tip, where before you would get a bullet tip here. So that's a change. I personally prefer the bullet tip, but now they come with the round. And you can choose your size anywhere from 18 to 44 inches, but 40 and 44 inches are an additional charge of, I believe, $10. And then the blades here have threading on the inside, and that's utilized mainly for their thin neck lightsabers, where the copper heatsink will screw into that, and then there's threading on the bottom of the copper heatsink, which then screws into the thin neck emitter to give you more stability and no need for retention screws. The blade is diffused, but the outside is not sanded. So if you want a greater diffusion, you may have to sand the blade yourself, but otherwise I think it's fine. These blades, since they are thick wall, they don't give the brightest illumination in my opinion, but they are very sturdy and durable for dueling. Now, dimensions on this saber, it has a length of 13 inches, and that's going from the top of the shroud to the bottom of the pommel here. And it has a diameter of 1.5 inches. This is a big change in the new Eco Sabers. So this is the Fallen Order. Let's do a quick comparison between this and, let's say, the Stalwart. This is a Gen 3 Eco Saber. Now if you notice, the length is not quite as long. Well, if you take out the shrouds, the length is here on the new Gen 5. And then here's your Gen 3, which is a bit shorter. Also, the diameter is not 1.5 inches. I believe it's 1.1 inches. So it's not as thick. So it's a smaller saber by comparison. Here's another one, the Aggressor. So you can see that both of these Gen 3s are similar in size, length, and diameter, but they're just not quite as big as their new run of Ecos, which is kind of cool actually. I like that the saber is a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier. Speaking of weight, it's just over 1 pound, and these Gen 3s are just exactly at or slightly less than 1 pound. The pommel has a resonance chamber of 1.8 inches, and it does sound very good, especially if you put in upgraded electronics, which I'll get to later in this video. And it has a deep blade depth of 2 inches, so it goes in quite far, which is nice and sturdy. Now, something about the pommels, like these here, since it's a smaller diameter, these were not compatible with couplers or any other pommel other than another Eco. But these new Gen 5s are ASP compatible, I found out. Granted that their emitters are not removable. This is all one-piece construction, but the pommel is removable. And the pommel you can swap out with an ASP part. For instance, this is an elite saber. This is the Saberforge Vanquish. I'm going to remove the pommel here. And just to show you, this will fit on the new Eco Saber. So that gives you some more options. So you can create a staff with any of these if you have a coupler that is ASP compatible. For those that don't know what ASP stands for, that's Adaptive Saber Parts. That's Saberforge's unique system where you can pick a variety of different parts and then assemble your own saber. Now let's get our close-up here. If you recall the Mark I of the Elite Fallen Order saber, this was the pommel that originally came with. So this is now on the Eco Saber. And their Mark II Elite Fallen Order saber now has the damaged, broken looking pommel. So you've got these two shrouds here on the end of the pommel which do match that of the emitter. You get into the body, and it's a nice, comfortable black anodized knurled finish. And then getting into the switch section, you have these two lines here with your LED retention screw. And then two more here. There's your switch section. You've got the recharge port right there, and then a limited AV switch. And this whole section here is nice and smooth. This is a brushed aluminum. Now I will say that all of these Eco Sabers are machined. Therefore, there's some pretty rough edges on these. And this particular one wasn't as bad, but my Commando, every edge was semi-sharp. So what I ended up doing was taking my Dremel and smoothing out around the shroud here, because that was kind of scratching my hand a little bit, as well as all these grooves here and on the switch side, and also in the switch hole, because that was scratching me quite a bit as well. So I just went through and dremeled all those very carefully and lightly to smooth that out, and now the saber isn't a problem for me. Of course, like all the other Fallen Order sabers, if you want to acid etch any of these or do any of that, it's customizable for that. It does come with a blade retention screw here. I removed that in lieu of a thumb screw just because I prefer those. And then I opted for a weathered blade plug. And this is the weathered in comparison to the standard. And that is included. You can upgrade to a black or one of the other brass pen type blade plugs, but that is an additional charge of $14.99. So to power on the saber, just press and hold, and you'll hear confirmation of power on. And it has limited features because it is an Eco Saber. So you get blaster block, you get clash, lockup, and swings. And it comes equipped with 3 sound fonts, the basic ones from Saberforge. That's going to be the Viridian, Crimson, and Gunmetal. So one press to activate. The accelerometer isn't very great, but it responds much better than the previous versions. It is a single color LED. One press for blaster deflection. It's not flash on clash, but the LED does flicker. If you want to engage the clash sound, just hit the saber. And you get a flicker with that. And then to activate the lockup, just hold the switch for about 2 seconds, release, and then press again. To disengage your lockup, just tap the switch once again. And those are all the features that come on the standard electronics. So like I said before, these take LGT electronics. So you can swap out these cores and put in, let's say, a Proffie, which this is available in a Proffie. If you want to do that, you'll get the neopixel blade for an additional $170. You get the Proffie sound core as well as the blade. I have plenty of neopixel blades, so I just got the Eco electronics, and then I had some Proffie cores that I got from Crimson Dawn, so that saved me about $100 going that route. So if you want to make those changes or swap out the cores, you've got 2 screws right here on either side of your switch section. You just want to remove those, push down the switch section, and then slide out your electronics. And you do this, of course, once the pommel is removed. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up so that way you can see how this works. Just so that I don't damage the switch, I take my Allen wrench, I place it on the edge of the recharge port, and then I push down. And then if I have to, I'll go right on the outside edge of the switch, not pressing the center, press down there again, and that should recess the switch section just enough to push it out. So here's the core, there's the battery. This comes with just a basic standard 22mm speaker, and then there is the soundboard. And then here is the Proffie core. Now if you notice, the Proffie core has just a few millimeters extra length on there. So for instance, like the Defiant, I saw that doesn't fit as comfortably as one of the longer Eco Sabers do, but just bear that in mind. Also, something else to consider is that this is not compatible with all of the Eco Sabers that Saberforge offers. For instance, if you notice the distance of the switch to the recharge port, and you see the distance to the switch and the recharge port on this Gen 3 Stalwart, they won't line up. So only certain Eco Sabers will fit, and you can just tell if you look in the picture. If you see a wide space between the recharge port and the switch, that will not fit. Same thing here with the Aggressor, that will not fit. But for example, if you look at this section here, notice how it's very, very thin there. The switch and the recharge port are very close together, which means that this will fit. So let's go ahead and insert the Proffie core into the Fallen Order. Now once you get it inside, if you're not quite aligned well left to right, just take your Allen wrench and push in on the recharge port, and that'll help you align that just a little bit better. And since it is recessed so deep down in there, I find that it's helpful to turn it upside down and smack it on the palm of your hand, and that will bring this whole switch section down or up, so that way the screw can attach and connect. So now the Proffie core is fully installed in the Eco Saber, and all I have to do now is just power it up. But let's get to an appropriate font for the saber.
I'm Cal Kestis.
There we go. So now I have all the features of Proffie in this Saberforge Eco Saber. Smooth swing, accent swings, blaster deflection, lockup, lightning effect, force effect, and color change. So now this is a fully equipped, really awesome saber that I enjoy very much. So I hope this review was beneficial and helpful to you. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and slap them in the comments section down below, and I'll try to get to you and answer you the best that I can. Always read the description and check for shipping times there, as well as links and additional information on this saber and where and how you can get it. Unfortunately, these sold out very quickly in the first run, but who knows, maybe they'll do another run in the future. So thank you very much for watching, and may the Force be with you.